1967, Cantal, France. The Cusack encounter that left no footprints. It began as an ordinary morning, August 29th, 1967. The air was warm over the rolling hills of Cantal in southern France, a place where time passed slowly, where children played freely among cows and meadows. That morning, 13-year-old François and his 9-year-old sister Anne-Marie were tending to their family's cows on a plateau near the small village of Cusack. The skies were clear. There was no sign of anything unusual. But by noon, something had changed. The siblings returned home, silent, pale, not from sunstroke or illness. They couldn't explain what had happened, only that it involved beings that weren't from here. Not animals, not humans, something else. Their father, alarmed by their state, pressed them for answers. What they said would spark one of France's most baffling and disturbing close encounters. Francois told investigators that he had first seen 4 small black figures near a low stone wall. They appeared to be floating just above the ground. They had thin limbs, dark skin or suits, large heads, and they moved with a kind of weightlessness, gliding, not walking. At first, he thought they were children playing, but when one turned toward him, his heart began to race. The figure had no visible features. Its face was smooth, emotionless, empty. Then came the floating sphere, a round metallic object described as perfectly smooth and silent, hovered in the air just above the figures. Anne-Marie said it reflected the sun in a strange way, like it was swallowing the light rather than bouncing it. The figures seemed to sense the children watching and, without panic or sound, began to ascend into the craft. One of them looked back. Francois remembered his body going cold. The sphere rose slowly. Then, in complete silence, it vanished into the sky. The children ran. They didn't speak of it until their father forced it out. A local gendarmerie officer documented the story, expecting to find exaggeration or fantasy. But when investigators visited the site, they noticed something unusual. A circular patch of scorched grass, roughly 8 feet across, lay in the exact area described. The grass was dry and brittle, yet the surrounding area was moist with morning dew. Even stranger, there was a strong odor in the air, acrid, metallic, sulfuric. A report was filed. Scientists from the French government's official UFO investigative body, GEPAN, interviewed the children separately. Their stories matched. They gave consistent details about height, clothing, motion, and even the strange hum in the air. They didn't try to impress or exaggerate. They were frightened, but calm. The French authorities classified it as a Type D event, unexplained, with physical evidence and reliable witnesses. The Cusack incident became part of French UFO lore, but for decades the full story remained quiet, overshadowed by more publicized cases in the US and South America. Still, investigators revisited the children years later. Their testimony never changed. Then came the twist. In 2007, a declassified set of documents revealed something odd. In the late 1940s, during the early Cold War, the plateau above Cusack had been used by French intelligence to test atmospheric communication equipment, experiments that involved high-altitude balloons and radio transmission gases like sulfur hexafluoride, the same compound that matched traces left on the grass where the children had seen the craft. Scientists suggested that what the children saw may have been a weather balloon gone astray, its reflective surface mistaken for a craft. The black figures, perhaps shadows, or military dummies used for aerial tests. It seemed plausible, until one detail unraveled it all. The dummies, if they had been present, would have remained on the ground. And balloons do not silently disappear against the sky, nor do they leave burn marks on the earth with precise boundaries. Furthermore, records of any scheduled military activity for that day were curiously absent. No aircraft, no launches, no balloon recovery logs. The area should have been empty. More chilling, in 1975, another farmer came forward, quiet, older. He claimed that, as a young man, he once saw lights dancing above the same plateau. He dismissed it as imagination, but when he heard of the Cossack incident, he realized it had happened in nearly the exact same spot 20 years earlier. He never reported it, said he didn't want to sound mad. Locals began to talk, not just about aliens, but older stories, folk tales of spirits who floated in the wind, of strange lights seen over the hills since the time of shepherds, of silent watchers who moved without sound, appearing in threes or fours, always before something was about to change. Some believed the land itself was marked, that Cossacks sat on a natural energy line, that the scorched earth wasn't just a footprint from above, but a reaction from below, a moment when two worlds touched. And when they did, the air changed. Francois and Anne-Marie never spoke publicly again after the late 80s. But in a private interview years later, Francois said one thing that haunted those who heard it. "It didn't feel like a machine," he whispered. "It felt like something alive, something that saw us and didn't want to be seen." The site remains quiet now, a field like any other, brushed by wind and birdsong. But the soil remembers. The trees surrounding it never seem to sway quite right. Tourists don't visit. Locals avoid it after sunset. And some say on very still days, if you stand at the edge of the plateau, the air gets heavy, your ears ring, your heart thumps strangely, like something is moving below your feet or above your head. Whatever came to Cossack in 1967 never left a message. It left a silence, a deep, hovering stillness in a place where two children once looked up and were never quite the same again.